And welcome to the Talon Outdoor Show. I'm Charlie. What?
Well, you fussed at us for talking. I'm JD, by the way.
Yeah.
That's Fred, and there's Cat and Paul Tire. So you fussed at us about talking, so we're all sitting here like little good schoolboys and got our hands crossed and nobody making any noise, and then you just have a complete brain fart over there, and it's dead silence for 45 seconds, and me and Fred both about to bust over
Do
here.
you have any idea what I'm doing over here?
No.
Do you know what it takes to do this?
There was zero complaints involved in that. I was just stating the fact. I'm not complaining
I was
about
just being quiet.
Well, I said, okay, are y'all ready to go? Y'all over there telling stories and stuff. And I said, I'm over here trying to do Grant's job and figure out the video recording and the audio recording and the this and the that and the multi. Anyway, so trying to figure out which one of these buttons when I'm talking that I can show, which nobody wants to see my face anyway. We'll look at y'all. And then and I'm all right, here go. I said, get everything started, and then Fred's over there. And I'm like, Lee.
Hey,
and I have to go back and I have to delete everything and restart everything.
I mean, it was
and
a
get
good
it all set up.
conversation.
And I don't even know if it's working right now.
I mean, we were talking about 60s hippies. And
It's making them squiggly lines on the screen.
Yep, you got the squigglers.
See, I got. Let's see. There's that one, and I click
Stop.
over here.
Just do the
And
show.
then I
Don't
can-
worry about all that. It'll be all right. Either it's going to record or it not.
See, now I can see me on the video, and now I can see y'all on the video. I was trying to do Grant's job.
Yeah, we miss Grant. We miss Grant terribly.
Grant,
Boy.
you need to come back, son. You need to come back.
he needs to come back.
Hoping everything's going well.
Yeah. I mean, he's down in Gainesville, isn't
He may have given up on us because normally he goes, "Hey, I can't make it." This time
Yeah,
he
I
didn't
got
tell us
no-
nothing.
I
He
got
just
nothing.
He may be otherwise occupied. He's got
important
taking care of
things going on.
We trying to get that baby home.
Yeah, and so we're anyhow. So so my phone won't start. I'm sitting there looking at a dead phone, and I'm coming in this morning, and I said, you know what? I need to let my wife know.
Probably didn't start no time or nothing neither, did you?
Do what?
No, he
I
got
did.
the timer.
See right there?
He's
See
got
that?
it going
See
on
that?
All
the
right,
thing.
then. All right, just checking. I'm just trying to help.
I forgot the signal.
I don't have
I
a
got it
call.
on there too.
So, well, I'm gonna give you a finger when it's time to stop talking.
Okay.
And, so I'm
you'll
coming
take
in
that-
this morning, and I said, well, let me call my wife from this other work phone I got to start. And, of course, I'm on the interstate, and then I turn on the work phone, and it's got to do with updates. And apparently my phone updated last night, and it won't come on at all. And so I call her at the sheriff's office in Jackson. Hey, so she doesn't answer.
From a
And I
number
said,
that she don't
that
recognize.
she didn't recognize, so she doesn't answer. So I'm gonna call it again. And then she answers the way I thought she would answer. Hello. And I went, ma'am, I'd like to talk to you about your extended car warranty. And she goes, no, Charlie, no, I'm in a meeting right now. And I'm like, yeah, well, this is the number you need to reach me at today. So, okay. And then like 30 seconds later, I get a text from her, are we getting new phones? And so
No.
she keeps bringing up this, hey, you're eligible for an upgrade. Are you gonna get a new phone? You're eligible for an upgrade. Are you gonna get a new phone?
You might be
I'm
now.
Like, and I'm like, well, I'm thinking. So I think she may have done this to my phone, so that she gets a new phone.
Man, I'll tell you the difference. But my wife's phone looks like a bag of busted bricks. I mean, it's the front's cracked, the back's cracked. I've got basically the Galaxy
Y'all don't do the
23.
iPhone thing.
No,
You don't like them?
Galaxy 23 Ultra, whatever, and her screen is cracked, the case on the back is cracked, and everything. Mine's fine. I don't need another one. I've been trying to get her to get a new one. She goes, "This one still works." I'm like, "Yeah, come on, looks like a case of busted biscuits. Get you a new phone, baby."
Well,
No,
just knock
she
it
won't
off
do
the
it.
counter a couple times, and she'll need a new phone.
No.
Well, she probably carries a work phone too.
She
and then
does.
Her phone. Yeah,
She
and I
has
see-
an Apple phone for work, and then she has the Samsung.
Oh, that's
So
like,
she speaks
she's
both.
bilingual.
She speaks both languages. I don't do Apple because I don't do Apple.
Why don't you do Apple?
I can't.
I don't know. It's just they're confusing to me. I have an Apple iPad thing.
It works just like the phone.
No, it don't. No, it don't. I can get on this thing and I can do all kind of wonderful things and close out all this bunch of screens at one time and do all this. That Apple, you got to flip through this and push that, and I have to get my kids in there. Baby, how do I make this go away? And because my kids use Apple, but all my kids use Apple. I've been Android from day one, and I will stay that way.
What I like about it is I got an Apple computer.
I know, and it'll talk to you. You ain't got to tell me, Fred. I know it'll talk to you this,
Pro?
and it'll MacBook Pro. We'll
got a
talk to your iPad. We'll
I
talk
have
to you.
one, and it is awesome. I like it. It never locks up. You don't get viruses on it. It's cool. Apparently, mine's outdated. I didn't know that could be a thing, but it works.
Oh, they last forever.
I do all kinds of graphics and stuff on it. I'm good with that. It's backwards from a PC, and I run laptops and PCs all the time. So it takes me a few minutes to get back into the swing of using it, but I love those.
Well, the thing about the computer is you can sync it with your iPhone, and I lose my iPhone all the time. And you can go to the computer and hit Find My iPhone.
Yep.
And it'll start beeping and hollering at you, and you can find it. You can track it around the house.
You don't
Drives
have
my wife.
You don't have one of those watches?
No, I don't have an Apple Watch.
JD, you got one of these watches, don't you?
Yeah, this is a Galaxy or
You got a
whatever.
Galaxy
Samsung.
Is it
Yeah,
like your phone?
it's a Samsung.
I got one with some credit card points or something one time or something, and I that's a step too far for me. I just need to know. I need to know what time it was 3 minutes ago, and that's what this watch is good for, is to tell me what time it was 2 or 3 minutes ago. And after about a week, it's about 4 or 5 minutes ago. So,
well, I actually I'm one of those people that track my steps every day, and I walk, and it does all that, and then the EKG, and it's just whatever. And it'll sometime if I get a text or an email or whatever, it'll pop up there, and I don't have to pick my phone up and go, I can, whatever.
So, yeah, last weekend, speaking of watches, I hit that craps table again down in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Did okay.
You lose your watch? Oh,
no, didn't lose my watch, but
figure out what that's got to do with a watch.
Yeah.
So
he's fixing to tell us. He went to the Rolex joint around the corner. And
yeah,
bought a fake.
I went in there to the Rolex joint and started looking at it and oohing and eyeing over it. Thankfully, they didn't have one that fit me in. So
you have to get a ladies. You probably need a ladies.
No, they actually make a 40, maybe it's a
40.
40
big.
no,
40 is a big watch.
30 something
Yeah.
millimeter. Okay, whatever this one is smaller than this one. And
That's a ladies.
that's not a lady's watch.
That's not.
I mean,
If you're wearing it, it'll fit a lady.
it's all. I always wear my watch on the back of my.
Oh.
Not the way y'all wear yours. I wear it right here. So
Why?
that way you can. Well, if you fly in an airplane or driving a boat, you can look at your watch and you don't have to.
You can do time over distance.
And do time over distance. Also, if you're holding a drink and you're at a party and somebody comes up and asks you what time it is, you spill the drink on them and not yourself.
No, that's kind of funny right there.
That's for when I get drunk. I ain't got to turn it over in my lap.
I don't hold my drink in my left hand, so I mean,
Well, I got to hold my drink in my left hand so I can explain with my right hand.
Speaking Italian, are you?
Yeah, man. You got to use your hand when you talk. Otherwise, you're not going to get your point across.
I'll hold a beer bottle and I have it in my right hand in case I need to hit somebody with it.
Well, I'm drinking a martini. I'm not going to hit anybody with a martini glass.
Not effectively do anything to them neither.
Well, you could break the top off and stab somebody with that.
Just throw it in their eyes and it'll burn.
Rubbing alcohol that he drinks.
Speaking of which, I like to use that soap we sell out there. The what's it?
Duke Cannon.
The Duke Cannon soap.
Oh yeah.
Don't get in your eyes, huh?
Don't get it in your eyes.
That's real
I
soap.
got it. Oh, good Lord! I felt it creeping last night in between my eyelids. I'd come in sweating out of off the farm, and I felt it creeping in there, and I couldn't rinse it off fast enough. And my wife comes running from the far end of the house, and I've got my face shoved in a towel, yelling, and I could not stifle my angry yell enough to where she didn't hear it on the far end of the house. And she goes, "My Lord, what's wrong?" And I said, "I got soap in my eyes." And now, bless her heart, when your husband, when you say, "Well, I know there's nothing I can do," but that's all the conversation you need to have with an angry man with soap in his eye. Because at that point in time, anything you say beyond that is not doing any good. When you know you can't do nothing, just walk away and let me be mad.
Don't exacerbate the
and
problem.
So now my eyes burning.
And you're
I'm mad, and I'm trying to be nice to my wife.
And she's
And
trying
so
to hold
I'm
you
trying
down
to
and
keep-
get.
And so I'm watching. I can see through the glass. I can see her feet out there, and she's still there. So I'm just waiting until I see her feet leave the room, and then anyway, I skated. I'm still married. I managed to keep my mouth shut just long enough.
Yeah, but you're just looking at that time.
Yeah, we'll be back in just a minute. almost did it. Just start talking about you. What kind of choke you looking for?
I'm looking for a full choke from a 410.
No, they fully choke you out sometimes.
JD's offended by my use of a full choke.
Well, if you didn't shoot a 410, you wouldn't need a full choke.
Well, I mean, but I like shooting a 410. It's fun.
It fits you.
That's because it's a little bitty gun with not much recoil. I've seen you shoot full on 12 gauge with high brass, and you do
then
quite well.
pick himself up off the ground
and
afterwards.
get up off the ground. But that's unusual because you are extremely good with a shotgun. I will give you that.
I mean, it is. If I don't hold my stance just right when I'm shooting a 12 gauge, I'm on the ground.
Yeah,
it'll knock me over.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
we've got the video somewhere.
I
somewhere
remember
there's
the
a
first
video.
time I ever shot a 12 gauge, 18-inch barrel, 12 gauge Remington 870 pump. I think my brother has that shotgun this day, and it was at the garbage dump off of Pittman Hill Road in Jackson County. There used to be a dump up there. Now it's just dirt and planted pines. And Daddy took me up there in his old 70-something puke green Dodge Power Wagon pickup truck, and said, "Son, just see that, just hold this thing right here." And I pulled the trigger, and I'm looking at the drive shaft of that truck from underneath. And of course, Daddy being Daddy, picks up the shotgun, checks it first.
Make sure it's all right.
You all right, boy? He said, "You got to lean into it a little bit." And I go, "Okay, okay."
Yeah, you do.
My first shotgun, I still have it. It was a Revelation, was the brand name on it, which
I had a revelation.
that
when I
was
shot that
a
shotgun.
Western Auto. Remember Western Auto stores?
Yeah.
It was a Western Auto store brand. It was made by, I want to say it's made by Springfield or something. There was a bunch. Anyway, back in those days, Sears and Roebuck, everybody's like, "Oh, I've got a Sears shotgun." No, you don't. You've got something with Sears written on it. But Sears had Sears, and then they used like Ted Williams. They had a bunch of store brands that they used.
Yeah.
But they were all made by gun companies. They were just what we call in the business a variant.
Huh.
So you had Western Auto, Montgomery Ward's made shotguns, or they put their name. They got somebody to make them a shotgun or a rifle or a whatever to put their name on it. They didn't actually manufacture them. Anyway, my first gun that was a youth model 20 gauge single shot, single barrel, and with a full choke. And that still to this day is the least fun gun I have to shoot because it weighs nothing. It's a little bitty, tiny little gun in 20 gauge, and it will kick the fillings out of your teeth, man.
Yeah.
And so I started with that, and then when my first real shotgun was a Remington 1100 12 gauge. So I went from something that beat you to death to something that shot pretty nice. You know, gas operated guns tend to not kick as bad, but the worst kicking a single barrel 12 gauge or a pump, which is just essentially the same thing that, you know, with a magazine tube.
Yeah, there's
no mitigation to that recoil. You're eating all of it every time you pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
over and unders are nice because they weigh a little bit more. They got two barrels. The weight's usually heavier. On an over and under or side by side.
Well, if you're going to dove hunt, would you rather use a 12 gauge or 20?
It depends. If I think it's going to be really windy, or if I'm in a dove field that I think is going to be a big dove field with not as many people to cover everything to make the dove move around, I'm going to shoot a 12 gauge. Mm-hmm. If it's a well coordinated dove shoot with plenty of people to shoot and the shots are going to be closer or whatever, I'll shoot a 20. I'll shoot a 28 gauge.
Yeah.
It just depends on. You know, I might take more than one gun with me to the field and actually only get one of them out. So,
I usually do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I take a 12 and a 28, just kind of see how they're flying.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're flying high, you know.
I don't shoot like at skeet where you have known distances, known angles, known everything on the skeet field. I shoot a 28 gauge just about as well. My score won't be a whole lot different between shooting a 12 gauge and a 28 gauge. So you're just shooting less shot, but if you know what you're doing and you
don't have to worry as long as you break the bird.
Yeah, well,
you
you
hit
got
it with
one
pellet.
Yeah.
It's not like trying to knock down something like a pheasant that's heavy.
Yeah.
You got to hit it just right with that same load.
Yeah, with pheasant, I am absolutely shooting 12 gauge, and I'm shooting high brass because they are so doggone hard to
Got to
kill.
shoot them in the head.
you have to kill them in the air, because if you don't kill them in the air, if they hit the ground and both legs still work and they're still alive, you
You ain't getting
probably
that
ain't
bird.
going to recover that bird.
Nope.
So when y'all go up there, you always use 12 gauges.
Especially if it's in that CRP or it's snowing.
Yeah.
But when they hit the snow, and they'd break through the crust of the snow,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
would haul tail
Yeah.
under the snow.
You get 2 feet of snow over the top of CRP grass that's already 2 foot deep. So you get this snow sitting on top of this viney grass that's growing up there, and you'll see right exactly where they fell. You'll see right where they went through that punch through that snow, and then they hit the ground underneath that snow, and they're gone. If they ain't right there in the hole that they made in the snow, they are gone. So
Yeah.
and there's nothing. I still say, we've been up South Dakota 6 or 7 times now doing that, and the year that it snowed so heavy on us up there was the most fun we've ever had.
Really?
Hands down.
Absolutely.
Hands down.
Loved it.
Hands down, no. It wasn't the coldest trip we've ever been up there.
This last trip was pretty good, I thought. I mean,
The last trip we had this last year was probably the best number of birds that we've ever seen up there. And I talked to Jesse a week or so ago. I say talk. We texted back and forth. He was on an airplane going somewhere. We texted back and forth, and he said they had a really good hatch this year.
Oh, really?
They've had a really good hatch so far this year, and the conditions have been good for the birds. So
that trip was a lot of fun. I mean,
it's. I tell people, if you're a wing shooter and you like to quail hunt, and we unfortunately don't. That doesn't exist like it used to for me anyway. Unless you have access to plantation properties, you probably ain't quail hunting like I used to quail hunt 2 or 3 days a week with my granddaddy, and we just went somewhere different and put the dogs on the ground and went hunting. That's one of the most fun trips, because the first time we did it, it was kind of one of them bucket list things, something we just want to go do, and got invited, and Charlie and I went, and it was one of those, hey, this is going to be a cool
man,
thing that we'll.
How can we get a trip?
yeah.
Yeah, and
We don't know if we're going to get invited back or not, but
After-
how can we get our own trip?
Yeah,
done.
it went the second day we were there, like, we're going to do this every year. My wife, teases me. She goes, I thought that was a bucket list thing that you just wanted. I'm like, well, it was. It started that way.
How many folks signed up this year?
I don't know. We got more. We got a few new people coming this year, so
do?
I think we'll have a big. We still got some spots.
We've still got some openings. If somebody out there is just dying to go with us, we'll vet you and see if
we
you're
can
somebody we
take-
want to have around.
Charlie and I's trip up there, we can take 18 other people with us.
18?
18. So
Yeah. So we've never gotten that.
we've never had
group.
that. I think about 15 or 16.
And I'm pretty sure. And so if you want to go, and you can't shoot,
We want
then
you
we
to go.
want you there, because we can shoot so many birds a day based on the number of people we take. So
We'll
you
help
go, well,
you.
I'd like to go, but I can't shoot.
We'll help
You
you.
will have a good time
You'll have a
shooting
real-
all the ammo in your pocket, shooting at birds.
and we will
and
help you
we-
get your limit.
We'll let you drink a little bit. We'll cook for you. We can figure out. Man, we're gonna help. We're gonna work with you. You just come on. So
Fred
yeah,
makes
it's
an incredible low country bowl with Brussels sprouts that you just
Yeah,
may
I
not
thought I
ever
was
get
crazy when I
anywhere
put
else.
them things in.
I really did think you were crazy. I don't even like Brussels sprouts, but I like them Brussels
those were
sprouts.
good. Fred likes to serenade us out there at night and see.
Well, it just depends on how much Lit Elf is in the store.
So for the people that don't know what he keeps talking about, Lit Elf. I think I coined that phrase at the liquor store because he got Stoli Elite,
That's right.
and the label looked to me when I glanced at it. I said Lit Elf because of the way it's
The font.
anyway.
font,
And I don't know if
yeah.
I was completely sober when I saw that or not, but it was
I
funny.
don't think you were.
And so yeah, there's a little drinking. You don't have to drink. Not everybody drinks.
That was at Ken's with the grocery hunting, fishing, liquor bank.
Let me tell you, that liquor store is
Gas
high end.
station.
They
Yeah.
got
It
some good
is.
stuff in
It
there.
absolutely is. But it's just the store.
They
mean-
could close everything else in town, and I think they could work off of that one location.
They really could. I mean, they got beaver in there.
Yeah.
They had license.
Shot shells.
Shot shells?
Hunting rifle.
Well, we looking for something up there. They had it. Oh, horse
What do
radish.
they not have there? Let's see. What do you have to have that they don't have at that store?
I'm at a loss.
I'm
you
pretty sure I could live out of
You
that
go
thing.
financial advisor, you can go bank, you can go pharmacy, you can go.
So if the zombie apocalypse breaks out,
we're
going
you
to
want to go there
Go to Ken's in Aberdeen, South Dakota, and
Yep.
you'll be all right.
and barricade the doors, and you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I mean,
You might have to go out and get the gas out of gas pumps every once in a while. Set up a perimeter around the gas pumps, but pretty much other than that, yeah, you're good.
that's one of my favorite
play
parts
lottery
of the
in
trip
there?
is going to that.
They got a casino in there too, don't
Yes,
they?
they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I didn't see a craps table.
Probably won't. That's probably one of them casinos that just
'Cause
have
we
this
asked-
slot
you're-
machines or something.
Because when me and the unnamed member of the judiciary arrived, your brother picked us up,
Okay.
and we were looking for a casino. And I guess he'd already been one night before and lost a bunch of money and want to try to win it back.
Yeah, he he tends to make it. It takes us 2 days to drive up there. It takes him 2 days to drive up there, even though his drive's a little closer and shorter coming from Texas. But they stop halfway at somewhere in the, I want to say Oklahoma. I don't know where they stop. They stop somewhere every year at some big casino on the way up there, and either he arrives really happy or he arrives really sad.
Well,
He generally arrives very drunk. So, I mean, you know.
No, he
No, he
just
doesn't.
gets that way real quick when he gets.
Yeah,
No,
he comes in sober, but about at the end of the night, he's the one running around in there trying to get everybody to drink more. You know, hey, you gonna and sometimes brings some really good stuff. That Huckleberry Bear Proof, man, I still like that.
those steaks that he brought last year.
Yeah. Well,
Wait a minute, that was the year before.
the year before. The last year it was the fajitas.
I hope he brings steak again.
Yeah.
Tell him to bring steak.
Well, he's probably listening to this show, so
If you listen, bring the steak.
He was on a podcast. I listened to him on a podcast the other day with the barbecue. He's world famous barbecue.
all right, we'll be back in just a minute.
Well, he won the thing.
He's won some barbecue. He didn't win the big one, but he places.
He places
He
in there.
places in the top 25 in the World Barbecue Championship every year.
gosh.
Yeah.
For his brisket. If you ever get, if we
Why don't
had
you tell him
time,
to bring the damn brisket.
Shit, that's a production, son. that's a 30-hour long, 30-hour long production right there. The brisket is
What's he cooking in?
a smoker big enough for him to get in.
You just put one piece of brisket in there?
No, they're
it's
cooking
big.
for hundreds of people.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a big deal, but
They have a
All right, ready?
toe behind thing anyway.
Keep talking about it if you want to, but
No,
we're gonna do it on this show.
this is the Dothan
There's the
people.
bottom. And we're back. So anyway,
But no, I was talking about my brother with the World Barbecue Championship and out in Houston at the rodeo every year. They have a big tent set up called the something yacht club, Houston Yacht Club or something along them lines. No yachts involved.
Yeah,
That's just what they call
they
it.
don't even have any water.
No, it's not till you go to Galveston.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that's the name of their tent, and
And
they make enough brisket, chicken, ribs is basically what the three categories they compete in. But they feed. I
This
want
is
to
like
say
a
he told.
4 or 5 day event, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, the barbecue starts before the Houston Rodeo, and then the Houston Rodeo goes for like a month. So they have the rodeo in the evening, and then they'll have a concert afterwards, and it's just that basically the whole city of Houston closes down for almost a month because of the
what month is it?
February, March.
Really?
Yeah, I'm hopefully going to be going next year.
thought that
Cody
was
Johnson plays the rodeo March 22nd in Houston,
Okay.
and I'm gonna try really hard to be there.
So is it? Their weather's pretty much same as ours.
Yes, it is just they get it 3 days earlier.
Okay.
Normally in the wintertime especially,
Yeah.
because that front's coming from the northwest to the southeast, and it sweeps through there, and we'll get the same weather they do just 3 days later
Ah.
most of the time. But
So I mean, it's not terribly cold. I mean, that time
well,
of year.
it can be, yeah. You
It
don't
can be
ever know.
cold.
They've had them winter storms out
Oh, yeah.
here and there in March and late
For some
February.
reason, I
March.
always thought that would be a summertime thing.
No, it's too hot in the
It's too
summertime.
hot in summer.
It's 100,
Yeah.
115 degrees in the summertime.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
like
like
it
over
was last week.
over the last week or so going out there trying to do
A rodeo?
Man,
Man,
yeah.
But anyway, they have all these tents set up, and some of them are big corporately sponsored tents that do the thing. I mean, the Jack Daniels has a tent
Yeah.
that's huge, but they feed his booth. I think he told me they feed like 600 or 800 people a night.
Really?
So when he cooks brisket or chicken and ribs, they have a giant smoker, rotisserie smoker that they literally have to crawl in. I've got a picture of him somewhere inside the smoker. They get in there and clean that thing out with
So
a,
does he buy all that food for his? I mean, what,
it's
how's
part of
that
the.
work?
It's part of the yacht club. They all pitch in and buy everything, and then they sell tickets, and it's kind of a. It's
Probably break even.
yeah, more or
Yeah.
less.
Unless you win the big prize.
Unless you win the big prize. So he normally places in the top 25 for something, like usually brisket. He places pretty high every year on brisket and ribs. So
So I would, that's so subjective. I mean,
yes, it's absolutely subjective.
you have,
It,
somebody may have bad taste buds come by and
I've judged one time here locally. There was a fundraiser, and it was a chili cook-off or a barbecue or something. I've done a
Yeah.
couple of those things, and yeah, it's entirely subjective. It's just what do you like? So,
Yeah.
it's like what judges do you have? Now, if you had the same judges every year doing the same stuff, but then you're almost guaranteeing the same results every year because it's the same
everybody
thing.
keeps
Yeah.
the same recipe or whatever, and it is 100% totally subjective. And I think my chili is really good. It might not. You may not like my chili. You might like his chili, or you might. That's just whatever.
It's-
I mean,
only thing
I cook things because I like it.
the only thing I've ever judged is a bikini contest with Pete Cohen.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course you did.
Yeah. I don't know.
So, how did Pete look in a bikini?
He about put one on that night. It was.
I hope Pete's listening.
Did he win?
Yeah.
Pete, I'm sorry, brother.
Oh,
We
Pete-
are part. Pete and I are part of the bald-headed feller
Mother
club.
fellers.
Yeah, we're part of that bald-headed club. We got called that one night on a call late, and it's a funny story, but I can't tell it on the air. And
All I know
anyway,
is Pete's wife drove us home.
she'll tell you that story. Mm-hmm. She thinks it's funny. She tells me. She sent me a text the other day. Said I'm telling the story about the BHMF club from back in the day, and somebody went to jail that night, and it wasn't one of us.
Y'all both had the 70s mustache and the bald head at the same time. So he was just a smaller version of you at the
Oh, that would be funny to see.
All right, well,
what
hey, we'll be back just a minute. And we're back. So I've been getting a lot of people reach out to me recently, looking for active shooter training. With the issue that happened recently at FSU.
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm trying to edit things and do things. The stuff that happened at FSU, we've had a lot more renewed interest in that and in church safety training. Because of what happened in Michigan recently, because there was a shooting. And I want to compliment the security staff at the Michigan church, because that's the way a church security program is supposed to go down.
Yes.
Guy comes up, starts shooting up the outside of the church, and the staff, hit him with a truck, JD?
I think it was actually a parishioner at the church that actually attempted to hit him with the truck, which caught the attention of the security staff or whatever. They were everybody was kind of, so you had parishioners and the staff, security people responding to this guy. He only got off like 2 rounds at the church apparently, and then got hit again, hit with a truck and hit with a bullet.
And that's the way this is supposed to happen. That's
Yes.
the way this is supposed to go down. And it doesn't happen if you don't pre-plan. And so what we're getting more and more of is requests for active shooter training for different organizations. And that's something we do here. But if anybody's out there listening, obviously having a plan, putting a plan together, talking to your people, working on your communication skills, making sure people are armed and are trained. But on a corporate level or an entity level, nonprofits, I've got nonprofits lined up we do active shooter training for. We do the active shooter classes here with Right to Bear, which is one of our organizations.
It's more of a seminar than it is actual.
Well, it is basically it is the same active shooter course we teach in organizations. I use the same PowerPoint, and we talk about the same stuff. We talk about situational awareness. We talk about critical incident stress. We talk about weapons of opportunity. We talk about all of the things now beyond the run, hide, fight model, which is promoted all over the world, and they've got videos and reenactment videos and things like that. But really and truly, if you're not going beyond just the runaway, if you can, hide, or barricade. Now it's hide/barricade, and then fight. If you're not talking about what weapons of opportunity are available, if you're not talking about the mindset, situational awareness, if you're not discussing those things in your classroom, you're really spinning your wheels, and you're using cans, just stuff. I mean, you can get that anywhere. Matter of fact, if you're at an active shooter scene, you need to run away, you need to hide or barricade if you can't run away, and then you need to fight as a last resort. There you go. That was a 30-minute video.
Right.
And you got nothing from that, just like you get nothing from those canned videos. But if you reach out to someone to provide real training, and it's best if we go to a facility and actually do the training in the facility so we can see.
So we can point at things and say.
Yeah. So which way do the doors open? What do you have cameras? Where can you hide? You go to medical facility, and guess what? The doors don't lock in the treatment rooms. You go in there. Well, this is where the patients are. Well, you have a duty to provide care for those people that are in there. Right. And if you're a boss, then you have a duty to make sure that your employees are protected and your clients are protected.
There's equipment and stuff out there that we've done research on and know about and can recommend, like, the doors with the hydraulic door closers.
Right.
They make devices that can slide over the end of those to keep them from opening when you have places that
or
are hard to secure.
Take your belt off and
take your belt off, cinch it tight. There's wedges. You can throw a wedge under the door. There's different ways to do things, and it's really good if we're at the facility and we can go, yeah, that right there you can do this too, because buildings are all different, layouts are all different. That's your best. We can say that's probably your best escape route because you're most likely going to encounter coming from this direction.
Well, you go to churches, and you have a lot of churches nowadays have an audio video guy or somebody controlling everything.
A control booth,
and that person really, that's a perfect person to have a computer monitor set up with a camera surveillance system looking at the outside. You need somebody outside, or you need a view of the outside with cameras. Right. And the door's locked during the service. I mean, that's just because if you can put a barrier between people who are coming there to do harm and you, be it a locked door, and cameras to see who's out there, or armed staff, or armed security, or off-duty law enforcement, or whatever. Not every church can swing. Somebody the other day was like, "Hey, we have a deputy in the parking lot." I said, "That's awesome. What happens if they get shot? Do you have a backup plan?" You need a backup plan. And also, not every small church can afford to pay somebody $50-something an hour to come in on Sunday and sit in the parking lot with a marked car. So there is a way for you to make your house of worship safer. I'm working with our organization is going to be working with a local religious group over the next year, doing a year-long training program to look at all facets of their safety and security. Wow. This is what we do here at Talon. And so if you're in the Dothan market and you have a business and you want active shooter training, I go to Dothan. That's part of it. And if you've got a nonprofit, we do charge a fee for those things. But like I said, you get what you pay for. And or if you want a seminar, we can probably get Right to Bear to do a seminar, as long as you can get about 20 people or more in a room. Then typically that won't have any cost, because we can talk to the people about the Right to Bear plan, which is actually, if you are going to use force to defend yourself, any level of force, the Right to Bear is definitely a good product, because it defends you civilly and criminally in a use of force situation.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're the only one of those companies that will insure, if you will, a church security team.
And they do church security teams.
Yes.
And they cover you whether you win or lose. You don't have to win the case in order for it to be covered, because it would be terrible to have a legal plan that covered you only if you won.
Yeah.
And some of them do that, and that's kind of now they will let you use your own attorney, and so against my better judgment, I would use Fred, and get them to pay him. So the
I can always use the money.
you quit sponging off your wife then.
Yeah.
Quit having to go to the craps
Quit
table
having to
to
go
buy
to
a
the
new,
craps table, yeah.
new Rolex.
Yeah. I need a new Rolex.
Do you? You
Yeah.
have an old Rolex?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't either. So there you go.
I mean, there are, and we rag Fred all the time. But yeah, if I was,
I tell people
going
that
to,
Fred's one of the funniest human beings I know. He's fun to be around, but there is no question who I would hire as a defense attorney if I needed a defense attorney now, because I know Fred would look me in the face and say, "Hey, we gonna try to get you a really good deal because you did something stupid. Can you practice? I'm going to New York in a couple of weeks. Can you practice in New York? Or you got to hook up?
I know a
up there?"
guy who knows a guy.
All right, cool.
So
I just I am truly concerned about being up there and being myself in New York City and somebody
I've got the guy.
bothering with me, or I'm not worried about bothering me. I'm worried about him bothering.
Actually,
my
it
family.
happened to a friend of mine.
Friend of ours, yes.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I just a Florida man is going to New York City for a week.
I mean,
is it what could possibly go wrong?
We just went over there and bombed the extreme leader, and
Yeah.
now we got, there's going to be crazy people up there.
Yeah, I know. I'm concerned about that.
You got to hear this story before the show runs out. We got time. Yeah, we do. So I am in Cottondale, Florida the other day, in Jackson County, Florida.
The metropolis.
Yes, and I'm driving down a dirt road, and as I'm going to buy a little pickup truck for the security company, and I look over in the ditch, and there's a dadgum alligator running down the side of the road. And there's no water around. He's just hauling butt down the ditch, just pacing me, almost chasing the car like a doggone dog would. And I get around the corner, I look up, and there's this old man bringing his trash to the road. He's walking down to the trash can with a bag of garbage in one hand and a pump camouflage shotgun in the other, taking the trash to the road. Now, I go to the road armed too, but I'm wearing a pistol. This guy's walking down, this old man with a shotgun, and he just raises the shotgun up and waves at me with it. And I'm like, oh, my Lord. I looked at my wife. I said, we are in Jackson County right now. I'm telling you, we are in the boondocks. Washboard dirt road,
people
going down
in
the road.
New York City cannot wrap their head around what you and I are talking about, and I don't even find it hard to believe.
And it's normal.
I don't even find it hard to believe.
It's normal.
Yeah.
And my wife had just said, this is kind of the rough part of the county. And I looked over and I go, yeah, apparently he lives here and thinks so too.
Where was the alligator in proximity to the shotgun guy?
About a quarter mile away. We'll be back in just a minute. And we're back. So
This the fishing segment.
I was getting to that, and I'm glad you brought it up because it reminded me that what I was about to get to.
So I was going to tell you, I was in Apalachicola a couple of weeks ago. Have you been down there lately?
Nah.
That water is some of the most disgusting stuff.
The drinking water or the river water?
No, not the river water is like pure as
Cleaner.
yeah. Then
I heard they've had problems. I don't know what's going on.
yes, apparently the hurricane came through and messed up something, and they got some money.
It was a water clarifier.
Yeah, that one.
Mm-hmm.
And
now they're under investigation.
they are.
Ooh.
And,
City's under investigation by the Attorney General.
correct.
Misallocation of funds?
Yes. Well, they didn't do jack to get that thing fixed, and the water.
Who got the money?
That's a good question.
That's what
I
the
bet
Attorney General wants to
bet
know.
you they're going to find out.
But I'm telling you, I was yakking just taking a shower. You if you took a shower, you'd have to take a gallon jug of drinking water, pour it over you just to get the stink off.
Smell like boiled eggs.
It was
Rotten
awful.
egg,
I
rotten
mean,
egg,
Like
Fred?
sulfur water.
it
Smell-
was so nasty.
Where were you
Did it
taking
smell
a
like-
shower in Apalachicola? Or can I ask?
Well, I mean, we stayed there
They were at the motel.
at the
Oh,
at the
inn.
at the inn.
at the inn?
Yeah.
You stayed in the inn?
In the inn.
Did you eat a grouper sandwich while you was down there?
I ate some flounder.
Okay.
Ate some redfish too.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I mean, I couldn't clean the fish with the hose water. I had to use the water
Oh, my
from
goodness.
the boat.
The water you took down there in the boat?
Yeah, the water, in the spigot, the boat
yeah,
spigot.
Yeah.
And it's dry now. That thing holds like 25 gallons, I think. And I mean, it's just nasty.
Fred's got a nice, is that your boat?
Yeah, it's my boat.
Fred's got a nice boat if he's got freshwater supply on the boat. I'm just saying.
You got to have fresh water if you're going to be in salt water.
Well, now, I had a saltwater offshore boat one
Yeah.
time, and it had a water pump on it, but it pumped the seawater into the hose, and that's what you washed the boat down was with salt water. It didn't have no fresh water, so it didn't have a tank on it.
This one got both.
Yeah, you're fancy, see. I'm just,
Yeah, they're just things that to break.
I had a
Yeah.
boat. I had a boat. We had bottled water.
That's what I have now. That's what I have now. Is I got a cooler with maybe water in it, maybe not water, maybe
last
flavored
week I was
water.
taking a 5-gallon bucket of water with a Mr. fan on it.
Hey,
Boy, that
that's
is so
a good idea.
nice.
Oh,
Those
you got one of
Mr.
those?
fans are
That
nice.
is so nice.
Hey, we see those at the soccer games. I'm a little more sophisticated than that. When we have to go play soccer in the summertime and it's really hot, I've got a cooler set up that works with one of those Ryobi battery-powered fans, and I'll make a swamp cooler out of it and blow cool air through the ice chest.
I found on Amazon they've got these real inexpensive fans that plug into the DeWalt batteries, and you just stick a DeWalt battery on it from your cordless drill, and then it's like a school bus fan. There's little round metal,
Yeah.
and it puts out some air too.
Well, last year when we had our big 4th of July employee celebration and party out here last year, those big barn fans that we've got down there, those big stand-up 4-foot tall barn fans. I bought a Mister kit from those and plugged the hose around.
I have one of those at the house with the Mr. kit, and I got the quick connect water hose thing, and then I just put it out by the pool.
So you take a 150 quart cooler full of ice and put it in there, and you put that
that's
cold
cold.
water in that, so you're ice cold just above freezing water through that Mister kit and that big old fan blowing across there. That is air conditioned when it's 110 degrees outside.
It's gonna be nice this weekend. Then.
It is good.
Finally
Man, we
get
had
some
that
rain coming.
horrible day. Like, was it Tuesday afternoon? I think it was.
Yes.
I got in the car Tuesday afternoon
But it's
to
making
go
my
home.
hay grow. My grass is growing. I
That
got
it is.
everything seeded out. I'm hoping that they'll come cut the seed out of it and then fall right behind.
So
this
that
next
just
dry
reminds
spell
me
we
not
get.
to go to your house anytime in the next.
Oh,
6
you
months.
would die.
Yeah,
You pull in my driveway right now, you would die.
yeah.
God,
I probably would. That's
JD, I could see his truck come in and just drive off in the field and stop. What happened? He rolled.
Well, the first thing that would happen was I couldn't see because it was swell. Bahia grass will literally swell my eyes
You
shut.
carry a pen around with you?
No, I carry a Benadryl.
Okay.
But yeah, that Bahia grass will literally cause my eyes to swell shut. That's the only thing I'm that allergic to on the
If
planet.
I showed
is
you a
Bahia
picture
grass.
of my hayfield
I'd
right
probably
now with
start
as much
sneezing.
seed as it's got going in, you'd start sneezing.
Get you an
How many?
EpiPen.
How big is your field? Hay field?
Well, I think we got about 130 acres in hay right now, and so
That's a lot of hay.
That's a lot.
I
That's
used
a lot
to.
of hay.
I've had to go home from work from the sheriff's office. I've had to go home from work sick because I had to drive across the median on I-10 when it was Bahia grass seeded out, and I had to go from in an emergency situation go from one direction on I-10 to the other and drive through the median. I've had to go home, but because of the air. That's being inside the car with the windows rolled up and getting enough of it in the
What kind of grass you got in your yard?
Bermuda, and
You ain't got no Bahia.
a little bit of centipede, Bermuda,
I'm
and
gonna
St.
go by there
Augustine.
one day and throw some
I will-
hay seed
I
in the
will
yard,
hunt you
and once
down.
it's in there, it comes up. You can't
Nope.
get rid of it.
Yeah, you can. I get out there with a shovel if
Go out there.
it pops up, and I will dig it up. And then
Just spray his whole yard paraquat, put gravel down.
Be out there with gasoline.
I pay
spray.
one of our customers, exterminator Joe King, comes to my house and sprays my yard every quarter to kill everything but the grass in there because it's just. And if his Bahia grass pops up, I will dig it up. But anyway, you catch any fish, Paul?
Yes, sir. I tell you what, they've been yesterday they were biting in that rain. In the cloudy weather.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the temperature, it didn't get a mid-80s yesterday. It was
Really?
beautiful. But, earlier last week, it was definitely early in the morning, late in the evening.
You don't fish it. I mean, they ain't gonna bite in this 100-degree stuff.
Yeah, they will, but it's just without that fan, it's hot. That's why right now I'm fishing late evening and in the morning.
Okay.
For
What'd you
sure.
catch?
And the bass have been biting. I brought some frogs.
You bought that fancy new flipper
I wanna
foot
show
frog?
you this thing here because it's.
This is
I've
the
had-
one you were talking about a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, it was. This is how it comes. It's a lunker hut. It's got these little feet on it. Well, what I've done is take these things off, just pull this out. Because when you catch a big one, it's going to come off anyway.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then I add these little keepers into it, hook two of them together and screw one into that, and then it becomes this. And
Uh-huh.
Oh, I
see
see. You
that.
put the little jigs
But
tails on it.
and
Yeah.
it makes a little bit of a fluttering sound. Man, that thing is
Hold that
big.
thing up closer to the
Yeah, but we
camera
do it like
there.
this.
So
yeah. Now
wh-
keep in mind that 99% of everybody listening to this show right now can't see anything you got.
That's right.
No, but it's
So yeah,
a,
basically
you
you put
describe
some,
it?
he put some.
A hollow body frog made by Lunker Hut,
Uh-huh.
and I just take the feet come off the back of it. This works too. This works good the way they come, but the problem is there's that filamentous algae that's growing.
So
on
you
the
took
leg.
so you
It's up
took
in
you
here.
took the
the feet out of it. Just pull.
well,
them
what
out.
did you put back on there? The tail of a
A tail.
It's a
half
bait. It's
tail
a
of
bait
of
holder that's basically a spring. Looks like a spring.
That's right.
Got
It's got a little
it's
spring.
yeah,
And
but where did you get those feet from?
those are called a zoom horny toads.
Okay, so you took
Or
took
zoom
those and
speed
cut them
crawl.
off.
These are zoom
you
speed
cut the
crawls
zoom horny toad in
in
half,
half, and then screwed it on there.
and you screwed it on for the.
Well, that
feet,
frog
where the
looks like
feet-
it's dressed up for the prom right
Yes,
there.
It looks like
And it's
some
been-
kind of a aberration.
And it's been catching some because you can throw this in anything and it doesn't catch.
Doesn't
Because
get
there's no
snagged.
Okay,
Doesn't
so
snag.
you got snag proof. You got the frog. Yeah, because I see
See how
the
the
hooks are up on the back.
That's
And
right.
it's touching the rubber there on the frog, so
Throw
it'd
it
be
over
hard. It'd be
anything.
hard to.
doesn't hang up, but and the hook ratio is actually pretty good. So it's been working really good. You know, there's all kinds of different frogs, there's different types, and I'll get into that next week. But if the fish are aggressive at all and they want something moving, this has been very productive. And I'll do them in black. You
I'm
know,
I'm
a
convinced.
frog, they don't. That just the top color catches a fisherman. That's what the fish see. They don't see the top of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a
So I either-
successful fish bait if it catches fishermen.
That's right. I want a white one and a black one. With them two colors, you don't need to be more complicated than that.
That black one looks like it's got flippers on, like it's fixing to go scuba diving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one will make some noise, but
Kind of
boy,
like the creature of
when
Black
the grass
Lagoon.
gets caught up in there, it stops spinning. And so I wanted to make something that I could kind of resemble a zoom horny toad, but a horny toad sinks. This floats. So you can just reel it and stop it, and they have been blowing up on it. Very good.
Sometimes because
Very
it's,
good.
they might be doing that just because it's something new.
Yeah,
They're
that's
seeing
true.
a new bait.
That's true. A lot of times fish will hit something they ain't.
Especially on public water when that some of those fish, that's kind of like decoying ducks during duck season.
That's right.
And late in the year, those ducks have seen decoys from Canada to Florida, and sometimes not putting any decoy or putting one decoy out works better than putting the whole decoy spread out. You know.
That's
'Cause
right.
Those ducks have heard every duck call and seen every decoy between Canada and here in the wintertime.
That's
Hey,
right.
That's why these
Now, does
mojos don't work good in the late season. I mean,
Yeah, because
seen
they've seen them.
Does your
Run,
lake so
run
there?
by Lake Ella, catch you one of those
Muskogees,
ducks down
turn
there
him
and
loose.
then tie it to a piece of
That's
fishing
highly
line.
illegal.
I didn't say actually do it. I said
See,
in theory. What I said was hypothetically, if you were to
it would
do
work
that.
very well. That's why they outlawed it, because it worked very, very well.
What, putting a live duck out there?
Yes, sir.
It's like
Ain't that
turkey
against the
hunting.
law?
Yes, sir. That's been against the law.
Well, it's like turkey hunting around my house. I
Yeah.
got so many turkeys now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I walk out there and you'll see a turkey running across the hill over there in the pasture. That's a wild turkey.
Well, now, see, in your situation, that would be normal agricultural practices.
Yes.
So it's not considered baiting or decoying if you got a,
Tell the game
that's,
warden, you don't understand. You don't know how I farm. We are a non-traditional farm here.
Well, I almost got in trouble one time for baiting baiting dove, and it's because somebody was feeding their hogs.
Well, I'm going to have to cut part of that out. We'll see y'all next time.
Okay.